Hey, my therapist friends, we are talking today about work-life balance for therapists and therapreneurs. The issue is that most of us come into this field because we are super passionate about our work. We love it. And it can be very easy to let our love and passion for our work make us turn into these kind of unidimensional beings. I think that the dopamine hits we get from doing something that we really love and that really lights us up can be so addicting that it can be difficult to break from the habit of being in service and helping people have these amazing insights to do anything that's a little bit different that might give us a bigger, bolder, better life. And it's kind of interesting because we talk to our clients all the time about how to live a healthy, balanced life. There are a lot of us who aren't doing the things that we talk to our clients about. Tell me if your experience was the same. I found therapy when I was very young. I was 17. I lucked into working at an inpatient crisis stabilization unit. And to say that I found my home, oh my gosh, I was obsessed with working at this place. I would ask for double shifts. I worked double shifts any chance I got. And then I would go home, and this is in the 90s, y'all, dial-up internet was new in the home. Not only was I obsessed with the tech, but I was in there like researching my little tail off because I wanted to go to work the next day with some new awareness that might be able to help somebody. So between the learning and the helping, my brain was on fire. The synapses were clicking all over the place. And to be honest with you, that level of passion and dedication and compulsivity lasted all through my early 20s and well into my first real job as a grown-up psychologist. I was probably 5 years into my career before I started recognizing that maybe it's not healthy, that this is the only thing that I'm doing that brings me so much joy. And that insight was actually pretty hard because what it meant was, perhaps you'll relate, that if I was going to have a life outside of work, I might have to pull back a little bit at work. Like maybe don't be the A++ employee. Maybe A is good enough, right? Sorry about the lighting change. So I don't know how to fix it. It was an identity cost to start pulling away a little bit from overachieving in my office to make space to do some other things. And I think that that's an obstacle that many of my peers can relate to. The number one, it's just, I'm changing my lights. Such a passion. And number two, it's so rewarding. And then number three, many of us are hyperachievers and we get a lot of our goodies and our identity from being that person. When you try to have balance, you naturally have to pull some of that energy from somewhere, and some of the goodies that you get from your boss or your colleagues might go down a little bit as you're exploring these new hobbies or lifestyles. I just want to give you a nod. I know that that part can be really hard. It was hard for me. When we talk about diversifying our lives so that they can be bigger and bolder and we can have exclamation points in the story of our life, let's talk about what that can actually look like. I have some notes in front of me, so I will kind of keep on focus. The first one that I want to mention is finding joy. Just in case you don't watch any of the rest of us, I think that this one is crucially important. Our world is pretty heavy, and therapists not only give in the therapy space, but most therapists that I know are also really tuned into what's happening in society and the world. And not only do we kind of fill our content cups with the heaviness that can be therapy, but also with the heaviness that can be what's happening in the greater world. And then also we want to help there too. We're ingesting all of this toxic, heavy stuff. And then we're also putting value in our lives of advocating and trying to make the world better outside of the therapy room. And I think that that's, really wonderful. We need people to do that. And we have to find some way to balance that with levity. That's a lot of heavy, and it will wear you down over time, even with all of the dopamine that we get from being helpers in the world. So how can we bring levity into our lives? And I have to share, one of the really kind of toxic traits of therapists is we take things very seriously. And sometimes we take things that shouldn't be serious very seriously. If you've ever been in a therapist run Facebook group, you know what this is like. I mean, you make a joke and people are coming after you. I get it. It may not be in that space that you're able to bring levity and joy and lightheartedness, but find some spaces. I don't care if it's watching Comedy Hour, if it's watching cartoons with your kids, if it's doing cartwheels. I find a lot of levity in Zumba classes because these folks are generally not other therapists. We can laugh and move our bodies in silly ways and high five and, just be more free than we can be in lots of other areas of our lives. I tend to gravitate towards heavier people because we have those deep conversations that introverts love to have. I've had to kind of be conscientious about finding people who can be in my life in lighter ways. And I bless that my husband is so freaking funny. We laugh all the time. And he's really a gift for me in that because he has a way of bringing lightness into lots of situations that could otherwise be heavy and just lightness into everyday life. Let me know, because I think this is an area of growth for most of us, where you find levity, lightness, joy that's outside some of the more rewarding but heavy parts of our job and also of just our instinct to do good things in the world. All right. I love freaking British mystery cozies because they're lighthearted and they're fun. Even when they deal with like heavy subjects, they're still just fun. We need more fun. The second piece, and you've heard this a million times, but I'm gonna come at it from a different angle, so hang with me, is moving our bodies. Our lives are sedentary. As therapists, we're literally sitting in a chair many hours a day, talking with people and trying to help them improve their lives. And that level of sedentariness is terrible for our bodies and for our mental health. How do we get ourselves to move our bodies, and in all of the different ways it's important to do it, right? Most of us have been thinking about the 10,000 steps a day and trying to get our steps in. And I think that's fantastic, especially because it gets us out of our office outside. And we know the benefits of having the sunlight on our face and all of the vitamins that creates, but also the mood shift that it creates. I also think that being more connected to weather and the light changes over the course of the day is just really healthy for our bodies. We have evolved to be exposed to that. And now we're living in this world that's totally different than all of these years of evolution and what our bodies are adapted to. Our bodies are not adapted to being inside all day, staring at a computer screen. Getting out and living more of your life outside, I think is insanely, that's funny that I would choose that word, healthy. And just walking, just getting outside is truly not enough. Starting there is good. But we know that as we're aging, part of the aging process is that our muscles begin to atrophy. This is a really crappy part of getting old. That our muscles aren't just going to maintain. They're literally shrinking every single day. And to combat that, we have to do quite a bit because we're sitting all day long. What is it that you can do to increase movement, not just in your walk, but throughout your daily life? I am trying really hard to resist the temptation to buy my way out of this problem, because there is a desk, it's the only one of its kind when I'm recording this, that takes you from sitting on the floor all the way past standing. Like you can, it goes high enough that you could stand on a balance ball. I want it so bad, but it's $2,000. And I also know that I have a tendency to try to buy my way out of problems that I could fix just by changing my behavior. Let's talk for a moment about floor sitting, because it is really important in anti-aging research, not because floor sitting in itself is healthy for you, but because when you sit on the floor, you're more uncomfortable and you're going to move around more and adjust your body more, which is great for circulation. We buy these fancy cushy chairs because we're like, oh, if we're going to be sitting all day, we need to really have a comfortable chair. When in reality, those chairs make us so comfortable that we don't move. And that's terrible for our health. Maybe it's okay to have an uncomfy chair if it makes you wiggle around a lot. And if you can find a way that sometimes you're sitting on the floor, sometimes you're sitting at your desk, sometimes you're standing, Sometimes you're on a treadmill would be even better. All of that kind of diversity of movement is incredibly good for us. And it's what our bodies have known for a long time in history and what our bodies don't know anything about now. The other piece about sitting, and I want to highlight this because I don't think it's talked about enough, is when you sit on the floor, not only do you move around more because it's not that comfortable, but you also have to get up from a floor position. And as we age, our mobility goes down a lot. Flexibility in your ankles is actually a really good predictor of your physical health over time. Being able to stand up from a floor sit without your hands is only something you can do if you're getting up and down off the floor regularly. My husband and I actually had our bed like low on the floor at our last home because we knew like this is building in part of the flexibility and mobility we need to stay well into our later years in life. Get your little booty on the floor and get up and get down and get up and get down as many times as you can because it's great for you. Okay. Oh, last thing about moving your body. Heavy weights, my friends, heavy weights. I know that to make movement accessible, we talk about, kind of easy access movement, doing our 10,000 steps, right? And obviously this is coming from like able-bodied privilege as I'm saying this, be sure to filter it through whatever lens you're coming from. But that's a good start, but it's not sufficient when your muscles are atrophying every day. Instead, we need to actually be lifting heavy weights. It's great, particularly for women with bone density. That compaction of heavy weights triggers our bones to do whatever the heck they need to do to keep from sliding into osteoporosis. Like, I'm not a medical person, but the research is really clear on this kind of thing. Lifting heavy weights, even though uncomfortable, even though it's hard to get myself to go to the gym, is really important to keep our bodies to the level we want them to be. And listen, y'all are telling me all the time, you don't have a retirement plan. Your plan is to work until you die. Well, my friend, your brain is not going to be healthy enough for that, and nor is your body if we don't start investing in our future health. And when you're younger, it's so much easier to be and stay healthy because your body isn't working against you as much. But as you age, we're living longer than our bodies were kind of built to live. We have to work harder at staying mobile, staying flexible, staying strong, and, increasing our bone density. I just wanted to put that out there because I know we don't want to hear it, but it's important to hear. Next, diversifying your hobbies. If you've got great hobbies, please put them in the comments below so we can inspire each other. As an introvert, many of the hobbies that I naturally gravitate towards are introverted indoor hobbies. I love to read. I love to take courses online and learn. I like doing creative things. All of these things are in the house. I had an aquarium for a long time, which I freaking loved. All of it's in the house. And that costs me in two ways. Number one, it's not getting me outside. Number two, it's not getting me movement. And number three, it's not getting me around other human beings. And all of those things are essential to us aging well and being able to work until you die if that's your thing. I'd rather you invest in learning how to market and get some private paid clients so that you can plan your retirement and you don't have to work forever. But that's neither here nor there for this video. Diversified interests and hobbies and ones that kind of meet multiple goals. Chef's kiss. Really trying to arrange a skate party, but I have yet to find another adult that wants to do this with me. Share below hobbies that are helpful for you in keeping your interests diversified and also, maybe hitting some of these other goals that we are talking about. And the last thing that I want to talk about is, it's a no-brainer for therapists that we should be in our own therapy at least at some point, if not ongoingly. And I find therapy really useful, but to be really straightforward, I don't want to do weekly therapy sessions. For me, it's bringing in a level of heaviness into every single week of my life in a way that I don't find helpful. I would much rather do intensives, and I've had my base, my foundation of therapy, right? But to kind of keep up my personal growth and maybe to deal with issues that pop up that I know are connected to some past stuff, I'd rather get in, go hard, do the work in like a therapeutic intensive than to do this over the course of every single week for the rest of my life. Like having a quarterly, maybe 2-day deep dive into whatever happens to be coming up, that's the deal for me with therapy. But I also think we should be getting help in other kinds of ways. There was a period in my life when I had therapy because I was going through a really hard time and I needed an expert to help me navigate that. But I also wanted someone to help me kind of just keep moving forward in day-to-day life and to retouch back to really what my core values were and if I was living out my values in everyday life. And so I hired a life coach, and it was incredibly helpful for me. I've hired financial coaches, I have hired business coaches. I think having diversified ways of receiving support is really, really useful. I also think that we need to go beyond maybe what the traditional box says of getting support. And if you've got ideas, please let me hear them. Whether it's getting massages or, leaning into friendships, all of those things are supporting different aspects of our wellness. And I even think about having like friends for different needs. I have my friends that I can go to and we're going to have deep existential or intellectual conversations. And I have my friends that like, we're just going to play and laugh and be childish. And when you can find that all in one person, like that's amazing. But having that kind of diverse network of support is crucial, at least to me. I want to hear from you about the ways that you are living beyond and outside of your career, especially those of you who are therapreneurs and you have lots of business interests like me. It can be really easy to spend most of your life in front of the computer on a dopamine high of chasing new ideas and helping in new ways. How do you balance that with living a life that is more, I want to say like more joyful and deeper in all of the ways that are important? All right, friends, I'll talk to you soon. Please share your wisdom. We can all benefit from it.